If you are preparing for CLAT 2026 or any major law entrance examination, then legal reasoning is the most important section you must master because it carries the highest weight and directly influences your rank. And the biggest misunderstanding students have about this section is that they think they need prior legal knowledge or memorization of very act, which is completely incorrect because this section is designed to test your logical application skills and not your memory of sections or case laws. In the examination, you will be given a passage explaining a legal principle, rule, or concept, and then you will be given a set of hypothetical factual situations, and your job is to apply only the principle provided in the passage to the fact given in the question without adding your own assumptions or external legal knowledge. So, for example, suppose the passage explains the principle of negligence, stating that a person is negligent if they fail to exercise reasonable care, and such failure causes foreseeable harm to another person. Now imagine a question states that A places a slippery substance on the floor of a crowded shopping mall and B slips and fractures his arm. Here you must examine whether A failed to take reasonable care and whether harm was foreseeable. And since placing a slippery substance in a public place can reasonably cause injury, A would likely be held negligent based on the principle provided. Now let us take another example from contract law, where the passage explains that a valid contract requires free consent, and if consent is obtained through coercion or undue influence, the contract becomes voidable at the option of the aggrieved party. Now, if a question states that X threatens Y with physical harm unless Y signs a property agreement, then based purely on the principle given, you must conclude that the contract is voidable at Y's option because consent was not free. And notice here you are not required to mention any section number of the Indian Contract Act but only apply reasoning. Similarly, in constitutional law, you may be given a passage explaining the right to equality and reasonable classification, and then a hypothetical government policy that treats two groups differently, and you must decide whether the classification is reasonable or arbitrary based on conditions provided in the passage. Preparation strategy for this section involves multiple layers. First, you must improve your reading speed because passages are long and dense. Second, you must learn to identify keywords in principles such as intention, knowledge, reasonable, good faith, voluntarily, because these words determine liability. Third, you must practice elimination method where you remove options that clearly contradict the principle. Fourth, you must train your mind to avoid emotional reasoning because sometimes questions are framed to trigger sympathy, but the answer depends strictly on logical application. One common mistake students make is overthinking and adding personal moral opinions. For example, if a scenario feels unfair emotionally, but the principle does not support liability, you must still follow the principle. Time management is crucial, and ideally, you should allocate around 30-32 minutes to this section. Start with easier passages to build confidence and leave complex ones for later. Practice at least 40-50 passage based sets before the exam, and after every mock test, analyze why you selected a wrong option. Was it due to misreading the principle, ignoring a keyword, or assuming extra facts? Legal reasoning rewards calm, structured thinking, and if mastered properly, it can become your highest scoring section and dramatically improve your overall CLAT performance.